What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and in today's video we're going to be getting into Firebase. We're going to just be initializing it and adding to our project and do something with it. All right, now first of all, you might be wondering, why are we using Firebase since WebRTC is going to be doing all the communications? Well, first of all, Firebase is going to give us a way to authenticate people, right? Logging in, logging out. And also, we're going to need to be managing a lot of data for that communication that our WebRTC is going to give us, right? So we need to manage that communication, keep track of data in real time, and that's why we're doing stuff with Firebase. Just wanted to give you that little insight why we're using Firebase. So, also, I do want to draw up like the structure of the database, or well, I guess you could call it the database. It's Firestore, the structure of our Firestore, so that way you get a better visual on like how we're going to be structuring the data. So in the beginning, there's going to be users, right? Obviously, we're always going to have some users, right? In the users, a user, let me actually go right here and say user 1. So user 1 could actually have a room, right? Remember, we could create many rooms. It does not really matter. I'm gonna just say room 1 right here. So in these rooms, there's going to be attendees, basically more users, right? Because users can come in here. So I'm gonna say user 2 or 3, and then user 5, whatever, right? And then inside of this, obviously, we could have some data with user 3. So user 3 name, the name of it, the name, and then whatever, right? Also with user 5, the name. But I just wanted to show you the kind of the structure, because it is going to get a little bit hectic, especially with Firebase, since it does uses collections and docs and fields and more collections. It's basically just that: collections, docs, and then the fields, and then more collections, and then more docs, and then more collections, and then more docs. It gets really confusing real fast. So I just wanted to show you the structure of it, so that way you don't get that confused. So, all right, let's just start getting into it. So the first thing you're going to be doing is going into firebase.com or console.firebase.google. I'll have the link down in the description. And then we're going to have to add a project. Remember, I already created one, but don't worry about that. Let's add a project. So I'm going to just call mine video or chat app. There you go. We're going to call mine video chat app, continue. And I don't want to enable Google Analytics for this. Let's just get rid of that. Create a project. This might take a while, so actually, it looks like it's going pretty fast. Let me just get a sip of my coffee. Can you hear that when I swallowed it? That sounded wrong. All right, so now it's done. We should be inside that video chat app. That's great. Next thing we want to do is grab the code, so that way we can start using this Firebase in our application. And you could add in right here, add an app to get started, right? We're only dealing with the web, so I'm just click on that, give it a name. Again, I'm gonna call it video chat app. And then you could set up Firebase hosting if you decide to do a host it with Firebase, which is really great, but I'm not doing that. So register app, and then it's going to give you some information, a configuration, right? And here it is. All we need is just everything inside this script. So I'm gonna grab all of this, copy that, and over here in our project, get rid of some of these things. Inside of source, I'm actually going to be creating a new file called db.js. And in here, this is where we're going to be including that, what's it called? The configuration for Firebase. Now, since this is using Firebase, obviously we do need to, we do need to import the Firebase module. So import Firebase from oh no, wait, I want to actually, okay, I do have it, Firebase right there. And then since you're not gonna see all these things, this configuration for me, because I honestly don't want to give you any of this. It's just tiring to go back and delete all this crap later on. So you're not gonna see any of that, but you should have all these things. So the way we're gonna set this up is we're gonna export this Firebase so that way we could include it in our project. So down here, I'm actually going to say const Firebase app is going to equal the initialization of the app, right? And then all we're going to be doing is just exporting that Firebase app, so that way we could use it everywhere. So export default Firebase app. And the only thing we're going to be needing from this Firebase app is the Firestore. Now, like I said, Firestore is the database that the newer database that that Google gives us, right? That Firebase gives us. Anyways, we're exporting the Firestore from this whole file. Control save. And let's not forget to ignore that. So git ignore. I'm gonna just git ignore it right here. src/.db.js. So you're not going to have this. This is very important. You're not going to have this at all. God damn it. So if you didn't watch this video and you started trying to do stuff, you're not going to be able to, because obviously you do not have that db.js. You need to create it and create your own Firebase application. Okay. And now, since we were exporting that Firestore, we do need to go back and, create a Firestore database in our Firebase console. So if you go back over here, exit the cells, continue to console if you wanted to. Right here, let me get rid of this. So Firebase, like I said, it has two databases, right? The real-time database and then Cloud Firestore. Cloud Firestore is the one that we want. So when you click on that, just create a database. And we want to do it in test mode. The reason why is because if we do it in production mode, we're going to have to write a lot of rules to make it more secure. And I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is just make it in test mode, so that way we just have access to everything no matter what it is, and we can do whatever we want with this. So hit next. Make sure you select the region you're at. I'm just stick with the default one. Don't worry about it. Enable. It is going to provision your Firestore, and this is going to take quite a bit, so I'll be back when this is done. Alright, now it's done, and now you can see that we can start a collection, which we are going to be doing. We're going to be starting a collection, and that collection is obviously users. Users, there we go. Hit next. And then this is where we could start adding some fields, right? So I'm going to keep the ID auto. Basically, it's going to generate an ID for us. I honestly don't care what the ID is. You can change it if you want to, but I'm not. Hit that button right here so it automatically creates that for us. And then the field, we're going to have a field called name, and we're going to just give it a name, WDJ. And then we're going to hit save. And we're going to see the structure, how this is. Now here it is. This is where I say it's going to start getting very, very confusing, okay? Imagine, can I pull back what I had? Alright, so this is going to be a little bit hard. Alright, so as you can see, we have users right here, and this is a collection. So this user that I mentioned is a collection, right? And then when you click a user right here, when you click a user, user 1, it's going to give you some data, right? And this is I guess you could say, the fields, right? The field data. As you can see, you have a collection and a field. That's because every document, this is a document by the way, this user 1 is a document, and inside of user 1 we have field and collections. So every document you could actually add some field, name, created at, whatever, and then you could also start a new collection, which is going to be rooms. The other, once we get there, is going to be rooms, right? But this structure right here is going to get super tedious, like kind of hectic. And you'll see why. Well, you could kind of see why right now, how just this is structured right here. Right now, we're going to have another collection called rooms. And then in that, we're going to have a doc with all the users or the IDs of those rooms. And then when you click on one, you're going to have this again, where we're going to have a collection of attendees. Don't worry. You'll understand what I'm talking about. But that's for a later video. let's just start getting into this. Now that we have this data, I want to bring this inside of our application. I want to be able to use the users collection and get data from it in our application. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing right now. So let's go back in our app right here. Get rid of this. We don't need that no more. So we're going to be doing it in the home.view. So in order to do that, obviously we're going to need a script tag. And since we're going to be using the database, or the Firestore, we do need to import that DB that we set up, DB from I think it's 2 out. Yes sir, it is DB. There you go. I don't think you need to do the .js. I'm gonna just leave it like that. Let's see if it actually works. So we're importing that database file, that configuration for our Firestore. Control save this. Now over here, first thing I'm gonna do is give it a name, and we're gonna give it the name of home. Next up is we're gonna need some data, right? Because we need to track the user, I guess the name data, right? It's just like React with create state. We're going to be creating a state for the user. So right here we're gonna have data. It's going to be a data. It's going to be a function. It's kind of weird. It's not that weird for Vue, but kind of weird. And we're gonna return some data. Now the data that we're going to return is, like I said, the user data, and right now it's going to be null. After that, we're going to be using life cycles, right? Like in React, there's life cycles, hooked, there's mounted, when mounted, when unmounted, did component mount and all that stuff. Right here, it's just called mounted. So when this component mounts, we want to do something right off the bat, and that is to access the DB inside the collection. Now remember, don't worry, I will explain this. The collection of users. Remember, we created a collection of users right here. This is a collection of users, and we want to grab this document. So you do need to copy this right here. Copy this because we need this document ID. Right now, we don't have a way to actually grab this ID just right off the bat. So I'm gonna just hard code this ID. So go back in our application right here. So once we have that db.collection.users, I want to grab the doc. Remember, this is a doc of this user ID. Now I'm going to get all the data from that. So for that, we're going to put in the .get method. So that way we grab all the data for this document right here. Matter of fact, let me just put this in another row. So that way it's just a little bit easier to see, right? All right. So now that we have all that document, or the information for that document, it does provide us a promise. So I could say .then, and then it's going to give us a snapshot. Now this is just basically the data in that specific time, right? You already know what a snapshot is, pretty much self-explanatory. So it's going to provide us a snapshot of that data for that document. And then we could just say this.user. Now we're going to reassign that user we created up there for the data. We're going to assign it with the user that we got from the snapshot. It's going to equal the snapshot. Now, a snapshot itself does give you a lot of data. Now, the only data that we're interested in is the doc data, okay? So in order to do that, it does give us a method called data. So snapshot.data is going to give us the data for the document data. And then we're going to just enter the .name, just like so. Control save this. Now that we have that name, what I could do up here is I could actually just say, let me see, I'm gonna do a p tag. I'm gonna say welcome and curly braces, and then just type in the user. That's it, right? That's the user right there. If you control save this, now let's actually start this up. npm run serve. Now I think this does take a while, so I'll be back when this is done. Alright, so it started up. So now if you go back to the browser over here and go to localhost 8080, control save, and we don't get anything. And what did I do? Home is not defined. What? Okay. Oh, I know what it is. Alright, so where is it at? Right here, home. Make sure this is a string, not make sure that's a string. Alright, so control save. Now if we go back, There it is right there. Welcome WDJ. I spelled welcome wrong, but it says welcome WDJ. Pretty awesome, I would say so myself. Now, this user is only, available for the home page, which we don't really want. We actually want this user to be available everywhere we go in the application. So, in other words, we want this data to be available everywhere. And that's actually very, very simple to do. So if you go back to the application, right here, all we need is to grab, actually, let me grab all of this. We're going to grab this, copy it, right? Just copy it for right now. And app.view, remember, app.view is our main component to display everything, right? So what we're going to be doing is actually adding it in this export default. In the app.view's export default, right? Make sure to add a comma at the very end. And get rid of this export default. There we go. And then I'm just move it on top just because I feel better. And rename this to app, obviously, because this is the app. And then we still have all of these things. This is very, very good. Now we are getting some, oh, it's because, there you go. Let's actually move that down. Move this. And then this. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. How many times did I say that right there? All right. Anyways, enough about that. Now we have this this user available in the app.view. Now, unlike React, it's very, very simple. Don't worry about that. It is very, very simple to make data accessed everywhere. All we have to do is in our router view. Now, router view is just, it contains everything that we have, right? Every router, like the home, the login, the whatever else you want, blog, whatever, that's what it contains. So basically, if we want everything that the router view is maintaining, remember it's maintaining everything, all those pages, all we have to do is just set up, hey, I want to bind user, and I want to set that equal to the user data that we got down here. Just like that, and that's it. Now every page, it has access to this user. And so in navigation, we could do the exact same thing. If we want to just pass this, we're just going to have to pass it as a prop, just bind it to user, and set that equal to user, and that's it. That is it. Now let's go back to the home page. Let me see what's going on here. This relative module was not found. All right. So DB, obviously, since it's one out, it's still in the same folder. So I just gotta get rid of one period. Control save. There it is. Now in home, let's actually get rid of all this because we don't really need it no more. I am going to keep the name though. Name home, just in case. And then get rid of the import DB because we're not going to be using that as well. Now, since we did pass that user inside router view, which it does maintain the home view. Since we did pass it a prop, we do just need to say, hey, we're expecting a prop, so please grab that prop. So props is an array, and just grab the prop of user. That is it. That's it. Now, if you control save this, go back to our page, you should still see welcome WDJ, and I could actually show you that it's working if I just retype this to E and then exclamations, so that way you see it's actually being pulled in. And there you go, welcome WDJ. Now there is one more thing I want to do before I end this video, and that is making this look so much more better, right? And that, my friends, is why we put in Bootstrap. Now I do have a template that I will be sharing with you guys. I'm not going to be talking about it at all. Copy that over here, paste it. So this is the template that I previously made, and I really don't want to go through it. It's just using Bootstrap classes. If you don't know what Bootstrap is, or like, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what Bootstrap is and all that. I'm just using Bootstrap classes, right? And I will take you around some things right off the bat. So right here in this div, basically we're saying that, hey, if there's a user, we want to display this. If there isn't a user, just get rid of this. That's basically it, right? Same thing with React. It's just conditional rendering, right? So the conditional rendering for view is just v and then if there's a user, display this. Down over here, and obviously you already know what this is, we're just grabbing the user that we got from our props. Over here, we're doing the vif again. If vif there's no user, we want to send them to the login page, right? So let's actually we could get rid of this because obviously there's always going to be a user for right now. So control save this. Now if you go back to the page, you should see this. It looks very, very nice, you know. It looks way better. If you hit the login page, you should be redirected to the login page. Going back. And I also have one for the navigation, so our navigation looks somewhat nice as well. So if you go back to our application, let's go to the components nav. I do have a template for that, which don't worry, it will be in the description down below. Just check that out so that way you can just grab it if you're following along. If you're not, then you could just, you know, pull from my GitHub and then have it already there for you guys. So we have this right here. Oh, did I forget to talk about router link? Yeah, router link is just, you know, React's nav link. It's just routing our link, right? Anyways, over here we do still need to grab that user data, so we do need to create a script tag, and this should be pretty much simple as well. All we need to do is give it a name of navigation, and also we're going to be using the props because we are sending props. Remember, if we go to app.view, we are sending some props to the navigation component, and the props needs to be an array, and the data that we're sending is the user data, and that's it. That's basically it. So if you control save this, let's go back to our application. There you go. Look how much nicer this looks. Just using some Bootstrap classes. Very, very nice. And that's basically it, guys. That's all we're going to be doing in this video. In the next video, we are going to be logging in users, basically authentication, right? Using Bootstrap's authentication method, which is right here. You could play around with that if you really wanted to, but that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. So stay tuned for that, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below on what you thought. I'm honestly sorry that this could not be React. I honestly am sorry about that. I couldn't, like I said, I didn't want to make this a full thing, like a full tedious thing. Plus, I only wanted to know if I could do it or not. And now that I know I could do it, there probably will be a video or a series on a video chat application using React.js. But like I said, I just wanted to know if I could do it or not. I wanted to know if there was a simple library just to use and all that stuff. And Vue was was spot on with that. So that's why I'm using Vue. But anyways, thank you guys for supporting me. I really do appreciate you watching my videos, you spending your time watching my videos. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video where we start using the authentication. So stay tuned for that, guys. Bye.